Let's do this thing. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Family Meal. I'm Ann Earhart, one of the owners and founders of Boston Urban Partners. For those of you who don't know Boss Urban, we're a real estate group that helps activate the street level public space within a building or a neighborhood. And a lot of our work is focused on matching retailers and restaurants with new storefront locations. Community is a major part of our platform, both in the spaces we help create for people to come together and gather, and our commitment to giving back to a community has been really wonderful to us. And so this family meal series came about as a way to honor that sense of community right now. We are putting the series on to benefit No Kid Hungry, an amazing organization currently working to provide healthy meals to children who have lost access in the pandemic. And we're going to talk a lot about No Kid Hungry tonight. Thank you to everyone who has donated. And if you like the program, please forward it on to family, friends, coworkers, anyone in your network that you think would like it. It's a rare opportunity for the more the merrier right now. We have an awesome show tonight. Our guest is Chef Joanne Chang of Myers and Chang and Flower Bakery, and that's my family in the background. So I'm going to hand it over to Sean Griffin, our director of hospitality, to introduce Joanne and get us started. Joanne, thank you so much for being with us tonight, and thank you all for tuning in.
Great, thank you, Anne, and welcome back, everybody. This is our fourth episode now of Family Meal, and we've got a big class today. I think we got 150 attendees tonight. So I want to say very proudly we have already raised over $6,000 for No Kid Hungry in this campaign, and I gotta imagine with tonight's turnout, I would guess exceed our goal of $10,000. So let's keep our fingers crossed. I'll put up a link in the chat here very soon to a link to where you can go to donate. No Kid Hungry right now needs our help more than ever. Since the pandemic, children facing hunger has increased more than 50%. And fundraising, as you probably know right now, is tougher than ever. You know, there's a lot of people, without jobs. There's kids that aren't in school right now. Schools are where a lot of these kids who face hunger, get their meals from, and many are going without right now. So again, the participation here tonight, sign up for our family meal classes is free, but we encourage, everybody who can, please make a donation if possible. We also have just launched our website for Family Meal. We've got all of our previous shows, cooking classes posted on there. So if you want to go back and look at, Jody Adams or Michael Serpa or Andy Husbands from the weeks past, you can go on to our website, bossurban.com, and check out there. There's also a YouTube channel for the Family Meal cooking class series. So I got to say, I'm really excited about tonight's class. Myers and Chang was a neighborhood restaurant for me for many years, really before I had kids and could go out to dine more regularly. I have a lot of favorites from that menu, but I got to say, whenever we were in there, we were always ordering dumplings. And Joanne, Rebecca wanted me to show this to you. We actually put the dumplings together before she knew I was going to be occupying the kitchen. So that was our attempt at tonight's recipe. So anyway, without further ado, Joanne, welcome. So glad to have you here tonight. Longtime supporter of No Kid Hungry. How you been?
been great. I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I love that we're spreading the word about No Kid Hungry. I love that we're able to share how to make dumplings. It's all about connecting food with people. So this is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So you've been pretty busy here in the last 3 months. First, what's been going on? What's been going on in the restaurants? Have they been open mostly? All the Flower locations are open for takeout?
Finally back open, all of the locations. We closed down all the bakeries and the restaurant for about a month and reopened slowly. We wanted to just reset. We knew that we would have to change operations and change how we deal with guests, how we deal internally. And so we took a month just to kind of research how we could best do that. And now we are back open doing takeout and a little patio seating. And eventually maybe we'll have people inside and we'll wait and see what the governor says.
That's great. That's great. Aside from keeping the restaurants open during the pandemic, I know you've been up to some other things as well. You mentioned something to me earlier this week, Bakers Against Racism. Tell me a little bit about that.
So this is an incredible initiative that started out of DC. A young baker who is an African-American baker, and she said, you know what, I just want to put something together to try to call attention to the fact that, Black Lives Matter, this initiative needs to keep going. We need to continue to raise money. And so she said, I'm going to sell 150 items on June 20th. And a lot of the proceeds, the majority of the proceeds is going to go to a nonprofit that supports the Black Lives Matter movement in DC. And she kind of opened it up to bakers. And one of the things I love to say about the baking community is that it's extremely giving and very community-based. And as soon as she posted, instantly people just kind of piled on. And I noticed somebody I was following posted it. I said, we should do it. Other people are doing it. And now I think it's like 2,000 or 3,000 bakeries and bakers and restaurants across the world, actually. I saw that Bakers Against Racism is happening in Paris as well. And so we are all opening up for pre-order tomorrow on the 15th. And then all of the proceeds will go to a nonprofit that supports the Black Lives Matter movement in the community that you're in on June 20th. So we're super excited. We're going to be doing our sticky buns at Flower Bakery.
Oh, awesome. Great. Well, before I turn it over to you, Joanne, I just want to remind people that there is a Q&A button here. So if you look at the bottom of your screen on the right, if you have any questions about what Joanne's doing or anything really, just put up the questions here and I'll read them off periodically during the course of tonight's class. And then also in the chat area, I'll put it up here right now. We'll send a number of links over the course of the evening. This is where you can go to donate to No Kid Hungry. Without further ado, let's see how these dumplings are made.
Great. I am excited to show you all how to make my mom's dumplings. I grew up making these dumplings. My brother eats about 5 things total, and one of them is mom's dumplings. And so I learned how to make these when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. People get a little bit intimidated about making dumplings, but once I show you how, hopefully maybe you even have the ingredients in front of you right now and we can make them together. But this is a really simple, basic recipe. I'm going to show you how to make the dumplings, cook the dumplings, and we're going to put together a quick sauce. So the first thing I do is I take some Napa cabbage leaves. I'm just going to cut them, slice the leaves pretty thinly. And the Napa cabbage really adds a lot of moisture and texture to the dumplings. But the problem with Napa cabbage is that it has a lot of water in it. And so if you were to just mix this into the dumpling filling, it would immediately cause a lot of water. And your dumpling filling would be really, really watery. So what we do is we chop up the Napa cabbage and then we sprinkle about a tablespoon of salt over the whole thing. And I know this looks like a lot of salt, but at the end, we end up wringing out all of the water that the salt is gonna pull out of the Napa cabbage leaves. And so this is a really crucial step. You wanna coat your Napa cabbage with all of the salt and just let it sit for a couple of minutes. And so while it's sitting, I'm just kind of mixing in the salt. And as it's sitting, the salt is gonna draw out all of the moisture. And what that's gonna do is leave you with all of the cabbage flavor, a lot of the cabbage texture and the moisture, but without all of the water. So we're gonna let this sit aside. And then while that is while the salt is starting to draw out all that moisture, I have here garlic chives. So garlic chives are different from regular chives. I don't know if you can see here. They're really flat, and they have the flavor of garlic, but they're not quite as strong. You can buy these in an Asian market. I'm gonna take off the bottoms. But if you don't have garlic chives, you can absolutely substitute scallions, or if you want to substitute regular chives, that's fine too. But I really like the flavor of the garlic chives from Mama Chang's pork and chive dumplings. So what we're going to do is just cut up these garlic chives, mince them so that they're finely chopped. And then this is going to be the really pungent garlicky flavor that's going to go into the dumplings. But again, it's not too sharp. If you were to add actual garlic, I think that would end up being a little bit too strong for your dumplings. So we use the garlic chive. It's got a beautiful smell. It's like extremely fragrant. And I'm gonna put that in this bowl. And that is pretty much the hardest part of these dumplings, is just cutting everything up. Now I have, this is about a pound of ground fatty pork. So when you go to the grocery store and you buy ground pork, sometimes it'll tell you the fat percentage. You actually want to get the fattiest stuff you can get. This is 60-40. So it's 60% meat and then 40% fat. And that's what's going to make your dumplings like really, really juicy. Then I'm going to add a little bit of sesame oil. And we've got some soy sauce. And then this is ground, chopped and ground ginger. I had some ginger I was going to show you, but I don't know where I put it. But anyway, if you have ginger, like an actual piece of ginger, the best way to peel it is to take a spoon and actually just scrape the ginger with the spoon, and I'll take off all of the skin and then mince it. Okay, so as I'm going to put this aside and then come back to this cabbage. You can already see when I chopped up the cabbage, it kind of filled up the bowl and it's already starting to shrink. And as I squish this, I can feel that that salt is already starting to work its magic. It's making all of this cabbage like really, really soft, and we're getting out all of the water. So it hasn't been quite a couple of minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you all of the water that comes out of this.
Wow.
You see all that? Sean, I heard you say, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was, what, 2 minutes it was in there? Incredible. Hey, Joanne, we got a couple questions from the audience. First one, we get this every week. For whatever reason, our attendees are in love with knives. So they're every week they're asking, what kind of knives do you use? What knives should I buy? What do we got tonight?
So I have a Korin knife. This was actually a gift given to me by Ming Tsai for being on one of his fundraisers for Family Reach. I participate in an annual fundraiser every year for Family Reach, and as a thank you, they always gift me a knife. So this is a beautiful Korin knife. It's about an 8-inch chef's knife. It's nice and thin, and I can hold it perfectly in my hand, and it's really, really great for chopping and slicing. When I was growing up, my mom had a big cleaver, one of those big, like, had a handle, and it was like rectangle like this. And then when I actually got my first cooking job, I was expecting a cleaver because it was the only type of knife I'd ever used, but then I was given a chef's knife, and so now I'm used to using this. So this is a really great knife. Okay, so now I have my cabbage, I have the soy, I have the sesame, the ginger, the chives, and then the actual meat. And now I just make the filling just by literally just mixing everything together with my hands. You want to make sure to evenly distribute all of the filling, all of the green chives and the cabbage, and get all of that soy mixed in. The great thing about this filling is that you can, you can make this ahead of time. We make this in big batches at the restaurant every couple of days. We make it in advance, and then we always have dumpling filling ready. Sometimes we freeze it, like during the beginning of the week, we'll make a bunch of batches and then put it in the freezer, and then during the week we pull it out and make the dumplings. So if you are busy, which I'm sure you are, you can do this when you have a little bit of time and then just throw it in the freezer, and then you can use it later. Okay, I'm gonna take 2 seconds, wash my hands.
So Joanne, Robin asked about the Napa cabbage. So I guess the cabbage that she bought was mostly green with, with some white. But we saw, you chopping up there looked to be all white. Can you use the entire cabbage? Is there, why we get some color variation in the cabbage?
Absolutely, that's a great question. As long as you get Napa cabbage, you don't really want to use regular cabbage like the green cabbage. Because it's pretty tough. So you want the Napa cabbage, which is, it's got a lot of water in it, and then we squeeze out all of that water. But if it has a lot of green, that's totally fine. It sometimes just depends on the actual thing of cabbage that you buy. So I wouldn't worry too much about that at all. Okay, so we've got our filling, and now this is the fun part. So let me show you, these are the dumpling wrappers that we use. They're called Shanghai style. You can put this right there. They are white. So they have, in the Asian grocery store, they have yellow ones and they have white ones. The yellow ones have a little bit of egg yolk in them, but the white ones don't have any egg. It's just wheat flour and a little bit of water. So first, I'm trying to find, there we go. Okay, so here we go. Later, okay. So here I'm going to show you how to make your dumplings. The first thing you do is take a little bit of water and put it on about half of the dumpling, just like that. Then, hold on, take a spoon and take about a rounded tablespoon of the dumpling filling and put it right in the middle. Okay, now, this is how my mom taught me how to do it. You make like a taco. See how it looks like a little taco? Pinch it at the top, and then you keep one side totally smooth, and then the other side you pleat it. So I pleat this side while the other side is smooth, and then I pleat it again, and then I press, and then I do that again on the other side. I pleat, and then I pleat, and then I press, and then you have little dumpling.
Wow, beautiful.
Now, when I was a kid, my mom would sit me at the kitchen table with a pile of dumpling wrappers and all of this filling, and we would sit and talk, and she would make dumplings and I would help her. But I was 6 or 7, and to me, these looked like little couches, and I had my little Fisher-Price people, and I would like play house. I would set up a house with all the different couches that I would make with the dumplings. And my mom would give me a hard time because she wanted me to make dumplings with her, and I was too busy playing house with all the little couches.
I mean, they all look so perfect, Joanne. I got to imagine not everybody at the restaurant probably does this. Is there one cook that that kind of owns this, and he or she is the one that makes all the dumplings for Myers and Chang right now?
So at this point, we have 3 or 4 prep cooks who make all of the dumplings. Pre-COVID, we had a woman, Dina, who really made most of them, and now she's still making most of them, and she is also sharing the duties with a couple other people, and she does them so fast. It's crazy. In fact, I've posted a couple videos of Dina and another prep cook that we used to have, Maricela. They used to make these, and it looks like it's on speed. It looks like it's on fast forward.
Fast forward, yeah.
Hyper zoom or hyper speed or something, but it is, they just do it. That's just how they do it. It's amazing. So this batch of filling probably makes about 40 or 50 dumplings. The best thing is that not only can you make the filling in advance, but you can also make these dumplings in advance. So at this point, I've got 5 dumplings. You can put these in the freezer. You can just put them exactly like this on a plate in the freezer. When they're totally frozen, then put them in a Ziploc bag so that they don't get freezer burn. And then you have frozen dumplings that will last in the freezer for probably at least 2 or 3 weeks. And then whenever you want dumplings, you can just pull them out of the freezer and cook them straight from the freezer. So that's what my mom used to do. She would We would make literally hundreds of dumplings every Sunday. And then throughout the week, she would make dinner, and then my brother wouldn't eat anything but dumplings. So then she would heat up some of these dumplings and he would have dumplings. So I'm going to show you how to cook these. So now I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera.
So Joanne, we got a question from Anne. She says, if we were serving these dumplings at a dinner party, what other dishes would you recommend serving them with? Do dumplings stand alone, or traditionally would you eat them with with other types of food?
So we always use dumpling as kind of like an appetizer. We would have dumplings to start, and then Mom would make a stir fry. We would have rice. We would have vegetables, some sort of tofu dish, a stir-fried chicken dish. But this was always kind of like the appetizer. And so she would make a boatload of dumplings, and we would kind of eat that first, and then we would go on to the regular meal. So I always view dumplings as kind of like the precursor to the actual meal. But I have to admit, after making all of these dumplings, this is probably what Christopher and I are eating for dinner tonight. So it's going to be our appetizer and our dinner.
Lucky Christopher.
So while this is heating up, I have a pan on the stove on like a medium-high heat, and I've put a little bit of oil in there. But while that's heating up, let me see if I'm going to come back over here. And I'm going to make, can you see that? Yes. I'm going to make the sauce. So we have this dumpling sauce that we made that has scallions. And it's got just kind of like all of these different ingredients that you can put in the blender, or you can just mix together. So we've got some soy sauce. This is a black pepper sauce. So there's a lot of black pepper. There's some vinegar. And then a little bit of garlic. So this is actual just raw chopped garlic, which makes it really pungent. We've got a little bit of sugar, and a lot of little ingredients go into this sauce, and it's really delicious. Some sesame oil, a little bit of chili oil, 2 more, a little sriracha, and then finally, kind of to help bind it all together, is just a little bit of vegetable oil. So at the restaurant, what we do is we actually mix this together, and then we take half of it and put it in the blender, and then the other half we leave it kind of chunky. So it's kind of up to you. I'm just going to whisk it all together, and this is going to be our black pepper, black vinegar sauce, and this will be for our dumplings in a little bit when we finish cooking them. Okay, so now we go back to, here we go. Can you see this?
And Joanne, in the sauce there, I'm sorry, someone asked a question about the oil. What was it? The oil? Was there oil in that sauce?
Yeah, we put a little bit of just regular cooking oil. It's like a canola oil. So here's the oil that we use. Mm-hmm. I got this at the Chinese grocery store. So my skillet is now heated up. I can feel it, it's kind of hot. So now this is how we cook the dumplings. I put the dumplings into the skillet. Can you guys see the skillet? Yeah. You can hear it starting to sizzle a little bit. And now I'm just going to let the bottoms cook for a little bit. Hold on. So you need a top to your skillet for this next part. So for about a minute or two, we're just going to cook these on like a medium high heat until the bottoms start to brown. So you can see I'm just picking up the dumplings, and I can see the bottoms are just barely starting to brown. So what I'm trying to do is I want to keep the bottoms crispy, but I need to cook not only the meat, but also the dumpling wrapper. So I wait until the bottoms are brown. It's getting there. And And then this is, once they're kind of golden brown, give it a little bit more. I've got a little bit of water. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour the water into the skillet. The water is immediately gonna turn to steam. It's gonna steam up and then I'm gonna cover it. And then as the water evaporates, the steam is gonna start to cook both the meat and the dumpling wrapper. Okay, so that's nice and brown. So we're getting, I think we're good. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Put a little bit of water. And then I put the cover on. So I don't have a lid, so I just put another skillet right on top of it. But you can hear, I hope you can hear, that it's all the steam, the water is turning to steam. It's cooking with the oil, and it's starting to cook both the actual dumpling and the wrapper. So my mom taught me, you do this 3 times. You wait until all of the water is evaporated, and you can tell because it starts to get quieter, and it gets a little bit quieter. You kind of take a peek. Oh, it's quieter and quieter. And then as soon as the water evaporates, then you add a little bit more water, and then you cover it again. And you do this 3 times. By the 3rd time, the dumpling wrapper is cooked and the meat is cooked as well. So when we first opened Myers and Chang, this is exactly how we tried to do it, literally like for the first week. So you can imagine if you're a guest ordering dumplings and you have to wait for this whole process, you might get a little impatient. So what we actually do at Myers and Chang is we actually steam the dumplings in a steamer beforehand. So they're almost entirely cooked. And then when a guest orders them, then we just do the one initial pan fry on the bottom with a little bit of steam to warm the whole thing up. Because otherwise it takes too long. You can already see that the dumplings are starting to, the wrappers are starting to cook a little bit. And now I'm going to add a little bit more water. You can hear it starting to go again. So you do this process 3 times, and then your dumplings are pretty much ready.
And Dawn, why do you phase the water in as opposed to adding it all at once?
So you don't want to drown the dumplings. If you add it all at once, then it ends up kind of boiling the dumplings. Mm-hmm. So what you're really trying to do is just add enough water so that it turns to steam and it steams the dumplings.
Gotcha.
You want that nice crispy bottom. Mm-hmm. The name of these dumplings is pot stickers, poitiers, and it means it sticks to the bottom of the pot because you want that crispy bottom.
Okay, so if you put too much water in, your wrapper would get a little bit soft and soft. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Someone asked about a grocery store. Which Chinese grocery stores do you recommend in Boston? Where do you frequent?
So we go to, there's a C-Mart and a Ming's, what used to be called Ming's Market right next to Myers and Chang. The Ming's Market, I think it's now called New York Market, but it's right on Washington Street in Berkeley. And then the C-Mart is a little bit further down on Washington Street and Herald Street. So those are the 2 that we go to all of the time.
Yeah, right there out of your doorstep. Mm-hmm.
But I know that H-Mart, if you all live near Central Square, I think there's an H-Mart like out.
Alston. Mm-hmm.
Alston, yeah, I know that that's supposed to be really good too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've done this 2 times. You can see now that the pan is dry. You can see that the bottoms are cooking around. So I'm going to do one final time. Just a little bit of water. The whole thing turns to steam. And then cover it. And as it's steaming, it's cooking. It's cooking the inside. It's cooking the top. I've got my heat at about a medium high. And again, the beauty of these dumplings is you can make them far in advance and then put them in the freezer. And then when you want to cook them, you can actually cook them straight from the freezer. It takes probably about 2 or 3 minutes longer, but not that much longer. Okay, and you can, I don't know if you can hear, but it went from being like really loud and very spitty, and then as it starts to. Everything.
Joanne, Lou Yi says goodbye. It's 6 a.m. there. He has to go, but he says he loves he has all your books and loves your recipes. So I'm not sure where Lou's watching from, but looks like it's about a 12-hour time difference.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you so much. So here are the dumplings. That was very loud. Okay, so now I'm gonna find like a clean place to put this on my little kitchen. Okay, so now I have these dumplings. So this is how I always test the dumplings at work is every single order of dumplings that comes up at the restaurant, I touch the bottoms. They plate them. I don't know if you've been to Myers and Changshan, I know you're there a lot. We plate them like this so that when they come up on the pass, when they come up on the pass, I touch them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get 5 per order, and I always touch them because I always want them to be nice and crispy. Okay, so now I have to find my sauce. Oh, here it is. So here's the sauce. And now I get to eat these. Get it into the sauce. It's got a lot of black pepper. It's also very hot. Mmm. Mmm. So good. Oh my God. Delicious. If I do say so myself.
Looks like an awesome dinner.
So good.
Christopher, you're very lucky.
So I'm really hoping that people make these at home because I know that dumplings seem intimidating, but honestly, once you try it like 3 or 4 times, I mean, Sean, you saw, you guys made beautiful dumplings. They're quick, they're easy. You can do pork and chive like we've done here. We've done a lemony shrimp at the restaurant. We do a vegetarian one with a little edamame and some mustard grains and a little bit of wasabi paste. They're just such a great way to have a really quick, really delicious dinner, especially for all of us who are so busy. Make them ahead of time on the weekends, throw them in the freezer, and then during the week, just cook them. You can steam them, you can deep fry them, or you can pan sticker them like we did today.
Awesome, beautiful. Thank you so much, Joanne. So, Joanne, you're not done for cooking for an audience tonight. You've got something coming up at 7 o'clock?
At 7 o'clock, we do the Flour Love Instagram Live series. We've been doing this now for about a month. We started it after COVID, and it was a way to try to connect people who love to bake. And so I pick a recipe every week. I demonstrate it. It's on my Instagram, Joanne B. Chang, and then you can actually watch the IG TV series where I'm making whatever the item is. This week we did a funfetti angel food cake to celebrate Pride. And everybody all week long makes the angel food cake. And then we meet at 7 o'clock on IG Live and kind of talk about all of the successes and all the problems. And we just spend a half an hour talking about baking. It's really awesome.
Great, awesome. Well, thank you, Joanne, and thank you for all that attended tonight. Next week, we've got something special in store. I will not be hosting. Tanya Nyack from IGTV as our HGTV, Restaurant Impossible, a number of other series, is going to be moderating the class with Tony Moz. So check out our website. I'm going to post that in the chat right now. That has links to the sign up for all of our upcoming classes, and then all of our past classes, including this one, you can see right there. So yeah, I think that's it for tonight. Thank you guys all for joining, and please, if you can make a donation, please do. We are a few $1,000s away from our goal, and we had such great turnout tonight. Hopefully we can exceed that goal. Thank you again for coming out tonight, and Joanne, and we'll maybe see you at 7 o'clock tonight on Instagram.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for being here. Make dumplings, and please donate to No Kid Hungry if you can. We need all of the help we can to help kids not go hungry. Thank you.
Thanks, Joanne. Have a great night, everyone.